Before Jesus Christ's second coming and the last day known as God's Judgment Day, certain events must take place. Here's a list of 15 of those Bible prophecies that we're seeing happen right now. In Ezekiel 29:15, written over 2,500 years ago, we're told that Egypt would exist but that it will never again rise to the level of prosperity that it once had. I will make the land of Egypt desolate in the midst of countries that are desolate. It shall be the lowliest of kingdoms. It shall never again exalt itself above the nations, for I will diminish them, so that they will not rule over the nations anymore. Egypt was once one of the most advanced civilizations in the world, creating structures that even today we have no idea how they did it. But this prophecy has been fulfilled. As of today, Egypt ranks 105 out of 179 countries in the Transparency International, and according to the Economist Intelligence Unit, Egypt is 137 out of 169 countries. When it comes to the prophecy of false attributions of Jesus Christ, we're seeing this unfold in multiple different ways. For many will come in my name saying, "I am the Christ," and will deceive many. One way we're seeing this is that there are people who acknowledge Jesus as the Christ, but still deceive many others, something that is also prophesied to increase in the last days. But another way we're seeing this is people who actually claim to be like Christ themselves, and they are definitely deceiving many. The return of the Christ is interpreted as the return of Christ consciousness, that when Jesus returns, it is not him physically returning, but the consciousness of the Christ mind returning in all of us. And by that method, the second coming will return to the planet. What does Christ mean? Christ is not Jesus' last name. Christ is a word that means the Messiah, the chosen one. But actually, it doesn't just mean Messiah either. Christ is also used to refer to Christ consciousness, a unitive consciousness, the awareness of oneness. It is the state that Jesus realized when he said, "I and the Father are one." But here's where you and I might differ. I believe that I is the same I that you are, because what other I is there? I think there's only one I, only one awareness. So much of Christianity is focused on celebrating what Jesus did and singing songs about it. But I think if Jesus were here, he'd ask, "Why are you still talking about me?" In Daniel chapter 12, we're given two prophecies that we are absolutely seeing fulfilled in our days more than at any other time in history. But you, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. We're definitely seeing people going to and from different locations. This here is how many flights take place within a 24-hour period. And as far as knowledge increasing, we're seeing that on every level, in the human sense, in the artificial sense, and also in understanding the history of the past. About AI, you have spoken out saying that AI could manipulate or possibly figure out a way to kill humans. How could it kill humans? Well, if it gets to be much smarter than us, it'll be very good at manipulation, because it will have learned that from us. There are very few examples of a more intelligent thing being controlled by a less intelligent thing, and it knows how to program. So it'll figure out ways of getting around restrictions we put on it. It'll figure out ways of manipulating people to do what it wants. Picture this. You're standing in front of the Pyramid of Khafra, the sun blazing overhead, the sand crunching under your feet. Somewhere beneath you, there's a hidden city, a whole underground world waiting to be uncovered. Using radar pulses, they claim to have detected a vast underground complex, spiral staircases, mysterious chambers, and even a network of tunnels leading deeper into the earth. His team believes there are 8 distinct vertical cylinder-shaped artifacts that span more than 2,100 feet beneath the pyramids. And get this. They believe it might even contain the legendary Hall of Records. Jesus prophesied in his Sermon on the Mount about the technological advancements of the human race that would have to exist in the last days. For then, there will be great tribulation, such as has not been since the beginning of the world until this time. No, nor ever shall be. One way this prophecy can unfold is with humanity's current ability to actually create terrible, worldwide tribulation like the world has never seen, thanks to the different advanced weapon systems that now exist. There are 2 types of hypersonic weapons being developed: a cruise missile that uses a super-fast scramjet to fly at hypersonic speed, and a boost glide vehicle, a warhead that's launched aboard a rocket and then released, falling to Earth at more than Mach 5, around a mile a second. Meanwhile, a Tomahawk cruise missile flies at a speed of Mach 0.8. So close to the speed of sound. Now, by comparison, the Russian Zircon hypersonic cruise missile flies at anywhere between Mach 8 and 10, so we're talking about a nearly 10-fold increase in the speed of the missile. The US Navy has a shiny new toy capable of downing drones at the speed of light, and for pennies on the dollar. It's called the high-energy laser with integrated optical dazzler, or Helios. The US Navy tested the Lockheed Martin-built laser weapon aboard the USS Preble sometime last year, and this is the only image released so far of that test. The term pestilence in the Bible generally refers to a divinely inflicted punishment or widespread deadly diseases. Deadly pestilence is prophesied in multiple New Testament books of the Bible. Jesus prophesied this in his Sermon on the Mount, documented in Matthew 24:7. It's also referenced in the book of Revelation, chapter 6, which is the 4th seal, the 4th horseman of the apocalypse. When the Lamb opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th living creature say, "Come." I looked, and there before me was a pale horse. Its rider was named Death, and Hades was following close behind him. They were given power over a 1/4 of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the wild beasts of the earth. A new study led by China's top biologist presents evidence that the world could be on the brink of another pandemic. This is where Queensland's secretive testing and research of deadly viruses takes place. But today, there's a very public admission. There is not a clear record of the destruction of 323 samples that cannot be located. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to support the channel. The blunder relates to a locked freezer storing 93 live samples of Hendra virus, 2 live samples of Honda virus, and more than 200 fragments of Lissa virus. The freezer broke in 2021, and the materials were transferred. But a gap in the paperwork means no one knows where they went. 2,700 years ago, prophesied in the book of Isaiah and the book of Amos, it was said that Israel would be destroyed and rebuilt. To console those who mourn in Zion, to give them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they may be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. And they shall rebuild the old ruins, they shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the ruined cities, the desolations of many generations. On that day, I will raise up the tabernacle of David, which has fallen down, and repair its damages. I will raise up its ruins and rebuild it as in the days of old. Jerusalem was destroyed in 70 AD, almost 800 years after these prophecies were given. And as we know, it has once again become a nation and been rebuilt. Even just the fact of Jewish people returning to Israel and it once again becoming a nation is also a fulfillment of Isaiah 43:5-6, Isaiah 11:11, and Ezekiel 37. The book of Micah has another prophecy about Jerusalem, saying that it will become the world's most important religious site. This is a prophecy that we are starting to see come to fulfillment. The conflict over who owns the Temple Mount, the continued claims of multiple religious groups saying that Jerusalem is the location of their holy history, as well as the eventual Third Temple, which will bring many people to Jerusalem. All of this was foretold in the prophecy in Micah 4:1. Now it shall come to pass in the latter days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established on the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow to it. It's nearly impossible to summarize the Israeli-Palestinian conflict concisely, but if you're looking for the most potent symbol of the conflict, this place right behind me wins, hands down. Palestinians call it the Al-Aqsa compound. Jews know it as the Temple Mount. It's the holiest site in Judaism and the third holiest site in Islam, which makes it some of the most contested real estate in the world. Every ancient stone is used as proof of either Israeli or Palestinian legitimacy. So who actually owns this land? And how did this site become the biggest flashpoint in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict? Israel is the center of the vast majority of these final prophecies. In Isaiah, we're given two prophecies: that Israel's fruit would fill the world, and that Israel will return to looking more like the paradise of the Garden of Eden, with luscious plants. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Those who come, he shall cause to take root in Jacob. Israel shall blossom and bud, and fill the face of the world with fruit. For the Lord will comfort Zion, he will comfort all her waste places. He will make her wilderness like Eden, and her desert like the garden of the Lord. Joy and gladness will be found in it, thanksgiving and the voice of melody. Theoretically, nothing's supposed to grow. But look, everything is green. Everything is flourishing. So far, it's worked. What are you growing here? I mean, what are all the plants that are growing here? It's easier to ask what you're not growing. Exactly. What do you not grow here? If you don't know what's in the ground, you're, in a sense, acting blindly. We're sending sensors to Africa, to Asia, to places that you would never imagine. Basically, we're teaching the world how to feed itself. The prophet Ezekiel also prophesied about modern-day Israel being in a state of prosperity and high rank among the nations. I will multiply upon you man and beast, and they shall increase and bear young. I will make you inhabited as in former times, and do better for you than at your beginnings. Then you shall know that I am the Lord. As of 2021, Israel is among the top 20 global economies in GDP per capita for the first time in history. Let me ask you a question, and no Googling, okay? Which would you say is the most innovative country in the world? I'm sure for many of you, countries such as the United States, South Korea, or Germany came immediately to mind. And yes, indeed, these countries have large scientific and innovative sectors. But what if I told you that there's another country that invests even more than all of them in research and development, and achieves even better results? Well, pay attention to this. Also known as the Silicon Valley of the East, Israel is the answer to the question that I just asked you. Similar to Daniel's prophecy about knowledge increasing, worldwide communications is also prophesied in the book of Revelation chapter 11. Just like so many of these prophecies, this is something that would be completely inconceivable by the human mind 2,000 years ago. These prophecies absolutely prove that the Bible is inspired and given by the one and only all-knowing God. Then, those from the peoples, tribes, tongues, and nations will see their dead bodies 3.5 days, and not allow their dead bodies to be put into graves. And those who dwell on the earth will rejoice over them, make merry, and send gifts to one another, because these two prophets tormented those who dwell on the earth. The fifth seal in the book of Revelation is a prophecy in relation to Christian persecution. When he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, "How long, O Lord, holy and true, until you judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth?" Persecution of Christians has gone on since the early church began. Revelation 24 gives a more specific end-times prophecy of Christians being beheaded for their faith, something we are sadly seeing take place in the earth. The prophecy of the cry of the martyrs is being fulfilled right now with the rise of Christian persecution. 1 in 7 Christians worldwide faces high-level persecution. Over 380 million Christians around the world are experiencing persecution and discrimination for their faith. A report covering the period from 2022 to 2024 indicates a dramatic increase in Christian persecution across many countries. So many of these countries are already considered fragile states, where governments do not necessarily have full control of what is going on. Therefore, in these countries, Christians can become easy targets for those looking to create instability within those environments. Christians are often targets that can be acted against with impunity, as there are no consequences for such actions, because Christians are often not protected or recognized by the governments in those areas. An unprecedented level of persecution against Christians has skyrocketed around the world. The international organization Open Doors recently published the 2020 World Watch List, which focuses on the top 50 countries where Christians are most likely to be persecuted. The report states that over the past 6 years, the countries experiencing the highest level of persecution have increased from 1 to 11, with countries in Asia and Africa suffering the most. One of the absolute most important prophecies out of every prophecy is given by Jesus himself in Matthew 24:13. This is a prophecy that, as followers of Jesus, we all have to follow and live out every day, no matter what comes our way in our time on earth. We must share God's love with everyone and remain faithful to following the Lord Jesus Christ. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold, but the one who stands firm to the end will be saved. I hope that through this video, you will feel the significance of these prophecies and find faith and hope for yourself and your loved ones. If you found this content helpful and inspiring, don't forget to leave a comment, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any future updates. Thank you so much for watching and accompanying us. Goodbye, and see you in the next videos.